Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session Navigating the Digital Crime Scene Tools and Techniques in Digital Forensic. I am Kainaz Baria, and I'll be the host for the day. Before we get started, we would like to go over a few house rules. For our attendees, the session will be in listen only mode and will last for an hour, out of which the last 15 minutes will be dedicated to Q&A. Now about our speaker, Bennie Cleveland. Benny is a distinguished cybersecurity leader with over 2 decades of experience in cyber incident management, enterprise security, and risk management, holding certifications such as CHFI, CCSO, CISM, CISA, CRISC, and CIPM. Benny has demonstrated experimentary leadership in incident response, forensic, and threat intelligence, currently serving as the AVP of Cyber Intelligence Management at Chubb. He specializes in identifying high-risk vulnerabilities in mitigating ransomware. Benny has proven track record of accelerating incident resolution and enhancing business continuity. He is also a cybersecurity adjunct at Valley Forge Military Academy and College, where he teaches digital forensics. His strategic oversight ensures robust compliance and comprehensive security measures. So, without any further delay, I would now like to hand over the session to our speaker, Benny.
Thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome. And thank you all for joining a fruitful call on digital forensics, navigating the digital crime scene, tools and techniques in digital forensics. Just to get started, just want to kind of lay the foundation here, a little bit about me, as the host eloquently already talked about, but me, over 20 years of specialized experience in the background of digital forensics. I share several insights in cybersecurity and also digital forensics as a whole. My journey began with a bachelor's degree in information sciences and systems from Morgan State University, followed by a master's degree from Villanova in information assurance and cybersecurity, both of which have been instrumental in shaping my technical strategic expertise. My core leadership, or I have to say competencies, they are in leadership and security management frameworks and incident response, also expert in information security models and cybersecurity tools. And I obviously, we're all here to learn about digital forensics. This overall journey will basically give a mediocre person who's new to digital forensics and also your expert a overall perspective as to what they can look for. After reviewing my experience, let's get our attention to our key topics that'll be essential for today. We'll begin by defining what is a digital crime scene, right? And this is a crucial step in understanding the environments we operate in and also the types of evidence that we may actually encounter. Next, we will explore the types of digital evidence typically encountered in an investigation. We want to emphasize the importance of properly identifying and managing this type of evidence. We will then address the challenges in digital forensics, including technical complexities and also the legal and ethical considerations that professionals typically will navigate. Following that, we will examine the tools of the trade, highlighting the critical tools necessary for conducting thorough and effective forensic investigations. Last, we'll be discussing digital forensics process and procedures. We'll bring all those elements together, from identification to preservation to analysis and reporting. We want to ensure that we have a good comprehensive understanding of the entire forensic workflow. So let's begin by taking a closer look at the concept of digital crime scene and why it's the foundation of all the work we do in digital forensics. In the era of heightened cybersecurity threats, digital forensics has become a critical component effectively in investigating and responding to digital forensics and digital crimes. This presentation, it's aiming to provide you with with the general knowledge and skills necessary to navigate the digital crime scene, ensuring thorough collection, preservation, and the analysis of vital electronic evidence. So let's begin taking a closer look at the concept of digital crime scene and why it's the foundation of all the work that we do in digital forensics. So keep in mind, uh, typically when we begin anything, right, we need to understand what is a digital crime scene, right? I don't want to assume that we all know what it is. So let's start here, right? So a digital crime scene includes any electronic device, network, or system that might hold evidence crucial to a criminal investigation, ranging from personal smartphones to a large corporate network. Next, we want to understand the devices that are typically involved. Um, Devices can range from personal laptops, smartphones, complex systems like servers or IoT devices, each presenting a distinct challenge for evidence collection. An example could be during a recent case involving a compromised IoT device within a smart home network. The device, which controlled home security cameras, was manipulated to exfiltrate sensitive video footage to an external server. Understanding the nuances of IoT devices and their vulnerabilities certainly enabled me to trace the breach back to the foreign actor, showcasing the critical nature of device-specific expertise in digital investigations. We next want to explore the types of data, right? Equally important is the ability to explore and analyze the various types of data in digital crime scene, but this typically would include various files, emails, browsing histories, chat logs, multimedia files, and the system logs, each providing valuable insights into the incident sequences. Okay, so these are some of the pivotal components here. Moving over to the navigating networks and online platforms, typically crime scenes often extend beyond the physical devices to include networks and online platforms, right? And so that typically will be requiring technical expertise and the understanding of data flow across systems without compromising its integrity. An example of this would typically be a data leak investigation traced back to a social media platform. That complexity require analyzing cloud stored data, scrutinizing social media interactions, and also examining message app logs. Piecing together these digital threads identified the insider responsible for leaking the confidential data. Okay, so that's typically when we talk about navigating networks and online platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, for example, or any other type of social outlet. We also want to examine the complexity of the digital crime scene. It's essential to recognize the inherent complexity of digital crime scenes, whether this is a device, a data type, a network. These will always add layers of complexity to the investigation, necessitating a strategic approach for effective forensic analysis. Okay. So basically, when we say what is a digital crime scene, it's going to be a multifaceted approach, right? There's going to be several devices that we're really examining. Let's take a closer look into a little bit deeper into the key considerations of a digital crime scene. So obviously, the first approach is securing the scene, right? So when I typically secure a scene, I'm looking at my top priority, right? So what do I need to secure it, right? So this is going to involve preventing unauthorized access and the preservation of the evidence integrity. I see this as setting up a digital perimeter to shield the scene from any additional tampering or data loss. Secondly, we need to preserve the evidence, right? So once the scene is secured, we need to preserve that evidence. I've learned that the key to a successful investigation is maintaining the original state of the evidence. I use techniques like disk imaging to create exact replicas of the data, ensuring that the original remains untouched, and it certainly be referenced later on if needed. Next, we need to look at the chain of custody, right? So after preserving that information, we need to maintain a clear chain of custody, which will become imperative, right? Each time evidence is handled, I carefully document who accessed it, when, and why, right? This detailed record keeping is crucial if the evidence is to be admissible in court or any type of internal investigation. We next need to identify all of the relevant data, right? With the evidence being secured and this chain of custody intact, the focus will then shift to identifying the relevant information. This process is both an art and a science where I use my experience to sift through vast amounts of information, pinpointing what's crucial to the information or investigation, whether it's specific files, logs, communication records, finding the right data is key to unraveling what happened. We then shift to the legal and ethical compliance. As I identify and analyze the data, it's essential to ensure that all actions are legally and ethically compliant, okay? And obviously, when we talk about compliant, we're talking about GDPR, HIPAA, PCI, there's several other components there. Legal and ethical considerations are always at the forefront of my mind. I make sure that my methods of evidence collection and analysis comply with the legal standards and ethical guidelines. This not only protects the integrity of the investigation, but also ensures that the rights of the individuals are respected. We then need to review the entire process, right? Thorough documentation is maintained to ensure transparency, but this is a crucial step to ensure that every aspect of the investigation can be reviewed if necessary. And again, we want to document everything, right? That would be paramount. And then the last step, the second from last, is going to be the analysis and correlation. The technical challenges in collaboration with other agencies, I kind of group those together. But within the analysis and correlation, this is going to pull everything together, right? Correlating the different pieces of evidence to build a comprehensive picture of the incident. It's like putting together a puzzle, right? Each piece of the data helps me understand the broader context and the sequence of the overall events. The technical challenges, right? They usually come, right? Everything is not as straightforward sometimes. Sometimes we encounter dealing with encrypted data, damaged devices, or complex networks. And so sometimes you may have to extend your investigation out a few days, right? And that comes. Collaboration with other agencies is also a very complex case. Effective collaboration, especially when multiple jurisdictions or agencies are involved, often leads to a more successful outcome, right? And sometimes that's not the case. But I have worked with law enforcement, regulatory bodies, and other cybersecurity teams to share information and resources, ensuring a comprehensive approach to the overall investigation. And then finally, we navigate everything by understanding the crime scene and continuous training and expertise. The field of digital forensics is constantly evolving, and I make a point to stay updated with the latest tools, techniques, and trends. And my ongoing commitment to learning is what allows me to lead these investigations with confidence and precision. Okay. Now, as we move on, let's see here, to securing the scene, right? I just want to dig in a little bit deeper as to when we say securing the scene, what does that really mean? So upon arrival at a digital crime scene, as I alluded earlier, the first priority is to secure and prevent unauthorized access, right? Second is protect all digital devices, right? So ensure that all digital devices are protected by avoiding any further interaction with them until they properly have been documented. This step is crucial for preserving the integrity of any evidence gathered at the scene. Second, or thirdly, we need to isolate, right, all affected devices, right? So with devices being protected, the next step is to isolate them from the network, right? This prevents any additional data from being written or deleted, which is essential for maintaining an uncontaminated trail of evidence. And then we want to control access, right? We want to maintain the integrity of the scene. I strictly control the access, only allowing authorized personnel to interact the crime scene. This ensures that the investigation remains intact and nobody can interfere with the evidence. Finally, I carefully document everyone who enters or interacts with the scene, ensuring that every action has been recorded. This thorough documentation is vital for maintaining a solid chain of custody and upholding the credibility of the investigation. Moving on to preservation of the evidence, securing the crime scene is crucial, right? Ensuring all digital data remains intact and contaminated for forensic analysis. We want to talk about preservation and understanding all the techniques here. So one of the first things when we talk about preserving the evidence, we need to understand what is a forensic write blocker, okay? A forensic write blocker is essential for preserving evidence from the outset. This specialized hardware device prevents any changes to data during acquisition, ensuring that the digital evidence remains unaltered from the moment you begin working with it. We next want to create an image, okay? We want to, obviously, once we secure the information, we make sure that the integrity has been maintained. We create an image, and this is involving making a bit-by-bit copy of the digital storage device. This will allow you to work with the exact replica of the original data. This method ensures that the original evidence remains unaltered and safely stored. We then want to ensure the evidence of the integrity, right? With the disk image in hand, it's vital to maintain the integrity of the original evidence. Protecting the data from any alterations or tampering throughout the investigation process is paramount. Employ controlled storage environments and secure access protocols to safeguard the evidence, okay? Once we've done that, we need to utilize a forensic workstation, okay? As you proceed through your investigation, especially in more complex cases, utilizing a dedicated forensic workstation becomes essential. This system, equipped with specialized tools designed specifically for digital forensics, allows you to conduct safe and efficient evidence analysis. By working with the disk image on a robust platform, you can thoroughly examine the data without compromising the original evidence. And we do this process through a bit by bit, right? And this is the copying of all information from the preservation phase. This method ensures that every single bit of data from the one storage device is replicated into another, providing an exact duplicate of the original. This careful approach underpins the integrity of your forensic investigation, allowing for a more comprehensive and accurate analysis. Okay. From here, right? So we said a lot, right? But the preservation phase is crucial for any investigation. We need to make sure that all the information has been stored properly. Preservation or preserving evidence is key to maintaining a clear and unbroken chain of custody, documenting every interaction from collection to court presentation. The detailed documentation is essential to prove that the evidence remains unaltered, ensuring that its integrity and admissibility in legal proceedings. A well-maintained chain of custody safeguards the credibility of the forensic investigation, making the evidence reliable under legal scrutiny. Okay, let's explore how to establish and maintain this chain, right? Emphasizing accurate documentation and understanding the legal implications of any mishandling. When we talk about evidence collection, the first critical step in any investigation is carefully collect and document any physical evidence from the crime scene. That's number one. By recording the precise location and handling each item, you ensure that the integrity of the evidence throughout the investigation. Second, we want to make sure that we package and label that information properly. Once collected, securely package and clearly label each piece of evidence with the necessary details, such as date, time, and the handler, to prevent any confusion or tampering, preserving its integrity. We then want to document properly, right? Thorough documentation is essential. Carefully record the chain of custody details for each piece of evidence, including who handled it, when, and for what purpose. This ensures that the evidence remains unaltered from collection through the presentation phase. We then want to secure and store this information, okay? And this is typically where we get into legal hold or e-discovery criminal cases come into play. After documentation, ensure that the evidence is stored in a secure, controlled environment to prevent contamination, tampering, or unauthorized access, protecting its integrity over time. Transportation. If the evidence needs to be transported, maintain the chain of custody by using secure methods and documenting every step, ensuring the evidence remains intact and accounted for throughout the process. Okay. As we get to the analysis phase, okay, let's see here. There we go. During the analysis phase, conduct a comprehensive examination of evidence adhering to established protocols to produce reliable results that can withstand scrutiny in any legal or investigative context, right? And then last, presentation. Finally, when it's time to present in court, a formal investigation, provide a detailed account of the chain of custody. This ensures that the evidence is accepted as valid and credible, having been carefully handled and preserved throughout the entire process. Maintaining a clear and unbroken chain of custody is essential to ensure the integrity and admissibility of evidence in legal proceedings. Once the chain of custody is firmly established, the next critical step is the identification of relevant data. This process involves carefully sifting through the preserved evidence to pinpoint the specific information that is pertinent to the investigation. Properly identifying relevant data is crucial, as it allows investigators to focus on the most significant pieces of evidence while maintaining the integrity and continuity established by the chain of custody. So one of the first things that we begin to look at is the computer hard drive, okay? Now, this is not always the case, but there's several unique cases where you typically would start with the computer hard drive. We do this by securing the computer hard drive that contains critical evidence, ensuring its integrity throughout the investigative process. Once secured, proceed with a comprehensive analysis to uncover the crucial data or any crucial data. We also want to look at a mobile device, right? Securing smartphones, tablets, carefully examining it to identify and extract relevant information. As the hard drive, it's essential to accurately preserve and extract data for later stages of for the investigation. We also want to look at network logs. Following the examination of physical devices, turn your attention to the network activity logs. A detailed analysis of these logs can provide valuable insights into the incident, allowing you to correlate log data and construct a precise timeline of events. We also want to consider cloud storage, right? To ensure no evidence is overlooked, investigate cloud-based storage services where crucial information might be stored. Systematically extract and analyze data from these cloud sources to capture all relevant evidence. And then we also have IoT devices. Let's not forget to examine any smart home device or any other IoT equipment connected to the case. Analyzing data from these internet-connected devices can reveal irregular activities or additional evidence that may be crucial to your investigation. And last, we also want to examine external media, right? Thoroughly analyze any USB drives, right? Any external hard drives that may have been used to transfer or store critical data by examining all removable storage devices. You can identify and preserve significant information that could be vital to solving your case. After identifying and collecting relevant data, it's crucial to handle evidence in strict compliance with legal and ethical standards. This includes safeguarding privacy, adhering to legal procedures, and maintaining the integrity of your investigation at every step. Successfully identify and collect the relevant data, it's essential to ensure that every step of handling the evidence aligns with legal and ethical compliance standards, safeguarding privacy, adhering to legal procedures, and maintaining the integrity of the investigation. Now, when it comes to legal and ethical compliance, we have to typically always look at the privacy regulations, right? We begin by adhering to strictly to the privacy laws and regulations during the evidence collection, ensuring that the individual rights are fully respected. All right, this commitment to privacy forms the foundation of the forensic process, where safeguarding sensitive information is crucial. We also want to look at the legal procedures, right? Building the importance of privacy and ensuring that all evidence collection methods align with the current legal standards. By rigorously following documentation protocols, you can not only protect privacy, but also guarantee that the evidence collected will be admissible in court and capable of withstanding rigorous legal scrutiny. We also need to consider ethical practices, right? As you navigate legal procedures, maintain the highest ethical standards throughout the investigation. Ethical conduct reinforces the legal validity of the evidence and ensures that all investigative actions are beyond reproach, avoiding any practices that could later be challenged. We also want to consider data security, supporting both ethical and legal practices. We need to implement stringent data handling and storage protocols. This step is essential for preventing unauthorized access or tampering, ensuring that the confidentiality of the collected evidence is maintained from the moment of collection through to court presentation or further investigation. Ensuring legal and ethical compliance throughout your investigation is only effective when paired with thorough documentation, which provides a clear, detailed record of every step taken. reinforcing the integrity and credibility of evidence typically starts with the evidence collection, okay? So we begin this process by carefully documenting every detail of the physical evidence. And this is going to include its precise location, the methods used for handling, right? This careful approach is essential to maintain an unbroken chain of custody, which safeguards the integrity of all evidence throughout this investigation or any future investigation. We then want to consider digital forensic analysis, right? With the integrity of the evidence secured, conduct a thorough examination using specialized forensic software. Ensure that all data is carefully captured and preserved during the analysis, providing a solid foundation for your findings and conclusions. We then want to review our detailed reporting, okay? After completing your analysis, develop a comprehensive report that thoroughly documents the entire investigation. We need to present our findings and conclusions clearly. We need to ensure that every aspect of the investigation is well supported by robust documentation. And last, we need to be transparent and we need to have credible information. So throughout this whole process, we need to maintain transparency by providing detailed documentation at each stage of the forensic investigation. We need to adhere to best practices and ensure that our reports are credible with documentation that is accurate, comprehensive, and reliable. Throughout the documentation, right, process, that lays the foundation for an effective analysis and correlation, right? Ensuring that every piece of evidence is accurately recorded and ready to be systematically examined and linked to a form so we have better comprehensive understanding. So with this process, we need to look at digital forensics, right? So we begin by employing specialized software to eventually extract and analyze the digital evidence from various devices, including computers, smartphones, and storage medium. We also need to use advanced tools to retrieve critical data that will propel your investigation forward. We need to review timelines of events with the digital evidence in hand, construct a precise chronological sequence of events, systematically analyze the extracted data to rebuild the incident timeline, clarifying the sequence of actions and determining the exact circumstances under which crime occurred. We need to correlate all of our evidence. We need to synthesize and evaluate the data from diverse sources, including from anything that's in the digital realm, physical realm, or any testimonial evidence. And so by correlating these different types of evidence, you can develop a very streamlined, holistic approach on understanding big crime, ensuring a thorough, comprehensive analysis. And then last, we need to understand our data visualization. Sorry, I can't speak. Finally, leverage the data visualization techniques to present your findings clearly. These will make a very complex overview for your information that's being accessible. This will also enhance your reports and decision-making processes, right? Whether communicating with stakeholders or presenting in legal proceedings. So through the thorough analysis and correlation of evidence, we often reveal complex technical challenges that must be addressed to ensure a comprehensive and accurate investigation, highlighting the need to overcome these obstacles with advanced forensic techniques and tools. So one of the first things that we need to understand is the encrypted data, right? We leverage advanced tools to extract and decipher encrypted data. Implementing decryption techniques for AES or RSA encryption to unlock vital information is critical to all investigations. Obfuscated code, all right? We use reverse engineering techniques to decode and interpret this type of software. We use methods to reveal the underlying functionality of complex packed code, ensuring a clear understanding of its operations. When it comes to deleted data and recovery, we need to deploy specialized recovery tools to restore deleted files from various storage media, such as hard drives, USBs, and memory cards. We need to ensure no critical evidence has been overlooked in the process of recovering erased data. We then need to look at malware analysis, right? We need to execute both dynamic and static analysis to dissect and understand malware behaviors. And we need to investigate advanced malware samples to uncover their operations, allowing you to mitigate potential threats effectively. We then need to look at network forensics, right? We need to use networking monitoring tools and protocol analysis to thoroughly investigate breaches and intrusions, right? We need to analyze network traffic to identify and respond to unauthorized access attempts and security incidents, fortifying your network defenses. And last, we need to understand emerging threats, right? We need to stay current with the latest cybersecurity threats and vulnerabilities, continuously evolving your tools and techniques to effectively combat new and emerging cyber threats, thereby enhancing your defensive strategies. Overcoming these technical challenges often necessitates collaboration with various specialized agencies, ensuring complex issues are resolved effectively and that the evidence is managed in accordance with international standards. For example, working with organizations like Interpol, right, the FBI's Digital Forensics Laboratory, or the Europols, right, which is the European Cybercrime Center. And if this is in the UK, we have the National Crime Agency, or the NCA, which can provide critical support and resources when addressing sophisticated cyber threats and conducting cross-border investigations, right? So obviously, if we're at that level, we need to speak to the joint investigation, right? What does that mean? That means collaborating closely with international law enforcement agencies to efficiently conduct cross-border investigations, ensuring that efforts are unified and effectively coordinated across countries. We then need to speak to the digital evidence sharing. As part of these joint efforts, exchange digital evidence in a strict compliance with international laws, maintaining the integrity and admissibility of forensic data which shared across borders. And then we also have forensic team coordination, right? So to further enhance the investigation, work seamlessly with forensic teams from other agencies, leveraging collective expertise to ensure a cohesive and unified approach, which ultimately strengthens the overall effectiveness of the operation. Continuous training and expertise significantly enhance effective collaboration with other agencies, ensuring that all parties are equipped with the latest knowledge and skills needed to tackle complex investigations and share seamless information. So next, we need to focus on the training and expertise. How does that happen? What do we need to know? So one of the first things is understanding a digital forensic toolkit, right? Understanding how to use this toolkit, what is it used for, right? So we need to equip ourselves and or with your team with the most advanced digital forensic tools to ensure thorough and precise investigations. In the next few slides, we will be talking about some of these tools in greater detail. But we need to utilize cutting-edge software that allows you to analyze digital evidence with greater accuracy, enhancing your ability to stay ahead of the field. We also want to look at hands-on training workshops, right? To fully engage the capabilities of these advanced tools, we need to engage in hands-on training that focuses on latest forensic techniques and methodologies. This practical experience is crucial for mastering the tools and effectively addressing new and evolving challenges in digital forensics. And then after mastering those tools and techniques, we need to solidify your expertise by preparing for and completing rigorous certification exams, such as the Computer Hacking Forensic Investigator exam. These certifications validate your skills and demonstrate your ability to handle complex forensic cases with confidence, confirming your professional credentials in the field. So since we've gone through basically the steps of a digital forensic crime scene, let's talk about the types of digital evidence, right? And so when we reference digital devices, right, again, we're referring to the examination of smartphones, computers, tablets, or similar gadgets, right? These devices often contain important evidence related to investigation. The process involves extracting and analyzing the data stored on these devices to uncover critical information, okay? Digital data, again, involves the extraction and analysis of various types of information from digital devices, including files, emails, chat logs, and browsing history. This step ensures that all relevant data is reviewed to find evidence that may be crucial for the case. We then have network activity, right? And this is basically covering the analysis of the internet traffic, IP addresses, and logs. This will also involve investigating network activity that will help map out any online action and connections of the involved parties, which is essential for understanding the sequence of events and identifying leads. And then last, we have digital footprints. This will entail examining traces left by users online, such as social media posts, online accounts. Tracking these digital footprints helps provide additional leads and context, which can strengthen the overall investigation by connecting various pieces of evidence. Okay. We also want to examine the digital evidence, right? And again, there will be additional information that may be online or some type of IoT device. We also want to look at any logging network activity. And then we want to really kind of review reconstructing timeline of events that we talked about earlier. And then last but not least, we need to uncover any unhidden data, right? So this is typically where advanced forensic tools are used to recover that data that may have been deleted, encrypted, or obscured. This process is crucial for revealing hidden digital information, especially when we're talking about steganography, where we may have adversaries using pictures and they're embedding information within that picture. And so this process is crucial, right, for any investigation moving forward. So let's talk about some of the challenges, right? Some of the challenges that we see in digital forensics. One of the first challenges is data volume, right? Managing large volumes of digital data from diverse sources, such as computers, mobile devices, and cloud-based applications is a fundamental challenge. Let's be clear. It is a challenge. The sheer scale of data requires efficient strategies to sift through and pinpoint the information most relevant to your investigation. Another challenge is encryption, right? As you handle this data, you often face sophisticated encryption techniques that protect critical digital evidence. Overcoming these security barriers is essential to accessing and extracting the information necessary for investigation. Another challenge that we typically run into is chain of custody. Once the data has been accessed, maintaining a rigorous chain of custody is crucial. And obviously, we spoke about this earlier. This ensures that the integrity of the digital evidence is preserved from point of collection through its presentation in court, thereby safeguarding its admissibility and reliability in court. Sometimes this is a huge hassle because we're working with other individuals as well, right? And sometimes the timelines don't match up properly. Another challenge is legal considerations, right? So throughout this process, strict adherence to legal standards and regulations, including privacy laws and other requirements, is typically imperative. However, careful navigation of legal frameworks ensures that your investigative methods comply with current laws and uphold ethical standards. So trying to fit our investigations into a legal consideration, it should be pretty straightforward. In most cases, that's not the case. Another issue is rapidly evolving technologies. The landscape of digital devices, software, and cyber criminal tactics is constantly changing, which presents ongoing challenges, right? So to remain effective, continuous updating of your knowledge and adaptation of investigative techniques are necessary to keep pace with emerging threats. And last, jurisdictional boundaries. Sometimes this could be a hassle. However, successful collaboration with international law enforcement agencies to gather and share digital evidence, it does require careful coordination and a deep understanding of these jurisdictional differences. So now we've gotten through a lot of the blah, blah information. Let's get into the fun stuff, right? So now we're going to talk a lot about the digital forensics tools of the trade, right? And within this, there is software information or tools rather, and then we have hardware. And so one of the, effective handling for digital evidence requires specialized tools in digital forensics. Essential tools include Magnet, Axiom, FTK, which is a forensic toolkit, Autopsy, X-Ways, and the list goes on from here. Each tool provides unique features for recovering and analyzing and reporting on the digital data from sources such as mobile devices, computers, and cloud storage. Mastering these tools ensures a thorough, accurate investigation and also meeting legal standards. So one of the first things that we typically look at is the forensic imaging tools, right? These tools leverage industry standards such as FTK Imager, DD, which is Data Duplicator, Geimager, or Magnet Acquire, to create precise forensic images of digital media. These tools are fundamental in preserving the original state of data ensuring that your analysis can be conducted without compromising the integrity of the evidence. We also have hex editors, and we have network traffic analyzers and incident response suites. Okay. So, Magic Axiom. I won't go into too much detail with these tools, but basically, Magic Axiom, versatile digital investigation platform, basically enables comprehensive recovery analysis, reporting across various data sources such as mobile devices, computers, and cloud services. We have FTK. It complements Magic Axiom. It's basically an integrated suite of design tool to carefully acquire, process, and analyze digital evidence. With its powerful features, including disimaging, file carving, and metadata visualization, FTK excels in uncovering intricate relationships within the data, thus providing a very robust foundation for thorough investigations. And then we have Autopsy and we have X-Ways. Okay. Autopsy basically is an open source platform and handles the analysis of hard drives and smartphones. Also Celebrite, UFED also does the same thing. And then we have X-Ways, right? Basically, it's known for its data recovery and analysis techniques, right? It has a lot of advanced features such as detailed file and directory structured examination, data carving, and automation through integrated scripting to ensure that even the most complex forensic investigations are conducted with the highest level of accuracy and efficiency. Now, when it comes to the hardware, right, of digital forensics, obviously we talked about forensic workstations, we talked about disk imaging tools and automated extraction tools and portable field kits. To add a little bit more credence here, write blockers, right? So they utilize, well, an example will be this Tableau T35U, which is a USB 3.0. It's a forensic bridge. It's used to basically preserve the integrity of your information, right? This device prevents any data from being overwritten, and you're also able to store the information while you're analyzing other data. We then also have forensic imaging devices, and in this case, this is a Lubico Falcon Neo. This is used for high-speed forensic imaging. This device creates a precise bit-by-bit copy for digital storage devices. This also provides you with an exact duplicate for analysis. We then have a portable forensic workstation, right? This is the Samurai Tolino KL101. This is a portable forensic workstation designed for speed and efficiency in digital forensic investigations. And then we have a mobile device forensic tool, right? And as I alluded to you before, this is primarily used for a lot of the mobile investigations. It's a specialized tool for extracting data from a wide range of smartphones and tablets. In an era where mobile data is often critical, this tool enables you to access and analyze the information from mobile devices swiftly and accurately. And so with the digital forensic process, right, there's several components in here, right? We have the identification of the incident. We have the acquisition of evidence. We need to preserve the information. We need to analyze the evidence, and we need to document the presentation of the results. Okay. We also need to report, right? So there's going to be a huge report that comes out of that. And so earlier we talked a lot about, what is the best practices, for reporting. Basically, you need to document everything, right? So best practices, right? We need to maintain a chain of custody, right? We start by carefully documenting all the information, right? As we alluded to before. We need to use write blockers, right? To further safeguard the evidence, utilize hardware and software write blockers. Use these tools, I should say, utilizing these tools is essential for preventing any unintentional modifications to the data. We need to focus on regular training. And this is where a lot of organizations, they may invest in you or send you to a training to upskill your forensic team. Keeping abreast with the latest tools and techniques and legal requirements is always crucial in staying ahead of the rapidly evolving digital crime landscape. And then we need to collaborate with legal teams. We need to maintain close collaboration with the legal professionals throughout the investigation. As we move on to the emerging trends in digital forensics, we need to stay informed on the evolving techniques, right? Maintain our effectiveness in digital forensics, right? Stay abreast with the latest advancements, right? We also need to integrate hacking skills with the forensic investigation. We need to focus on continuous learning and adapt to new threats as they come. So as we navigate the digital crime scene, right, and we look more into these emerging trends, we also have to be, well, I guess I should say, have a better understanding of cloud forensics, right? As the digital evidence is increasingly kind of ramping up and we're migrating to the cloud, we need to develop our expertise in cloud forensics, right? We must adapt and retrieve and analyze data from dispersed cloud systems, navigating complex legal frameworks, and overcoming encryption barriers to secure vital digital information. Obviously, we have AI and machine learning, right? That's on the forefront, right? To enhance our forensic capabilities, we need to integrate AI-powered tools so that we have more information for our reporting. These technologies streamline the forensic analysis process, improve accuracy, and enable you to identify patterns within the vast data sets. Now, these patterns that would be challenging to discern manually. We also have, we have IoT forensics with the growing prevalence of the interconnected devices. A focus on IoT forensics is imperative. Your ability to analyze the data from various IoT components will be critical in uncovering crucial information. And then we have mobile device forensics, right? This is the evolution of mobile technology presenting unique challenges, right? Especially with encrypted data and securing messaging apps. And so it's vital to adapt your forensic techniques to effectively manage these complexities and integrate cloud data associated with the mobile devices, ensuring a comprehensive investigation. So we have to keep in mind, digital forensics is the window to the truth in the cyber world. This is a quote by Dr. Mark Palat. He's a renowned digital forensics expert. So thank you for attending. Looks like we made our time window, but I want to share with you, always review and update your forensic tools and procedures regularly. Ensure that your team is trained on the latest forensic techniques and tools, and implement a forensic readiness plan to enhance your incident response strategy. So thank you, and I will turn it back over to our host.
Thank you very much, Benny, for delivering such an insightful and informative session. We found the webinar very engaging, and I hope it was valuable for you as well. It was a very interesting webinar.
Thank
So
you.
before we begin with the thank you. So before we begin with the Q&A part, I would like to inform all the attendees that today's session is in sync with EC Council's CHFI certification. EC Council's Certified Hacking Forensic Investigator certification is a lab-focused program offering comprehensive and vendor-neutral training in digital forensic. Participants will learn to conduct computer forensic investigations using innovative digital forensic technologies and tools. The course covers the knowledge and skills that cybersecurity professionals need to analyze complex security threats. Certification holders will be able to help threat cyber attacks by investigating, recording, and reporting cybercrime. EC Council's CHFI program is mapped to crucial cyber forensic job roles, like LinkedIn lists over 3,600 plus digital forensic job opening worldwide, and PayScale lists an average annual salary of 1,11,000 US dollars for CHFI certified professionals in the United States. If you're interested to know more, kindly take part in the poll that is going to be conducted now. Let us know your preferred mode of training and we'll reach out to you. So we shall start with the Q&A. Benny?
Yes.
Our first question is, what is the best first step to take while starting in digital forensic? Is it better to start learning networking and then jump to digital forensic?
Excellent question. I would say yes and no. There's really no right or wrong answer. I have seen several individuals who will start Network Plus or CCNA and then transition over into digital forensics. It really depends on your career path. But I would say having a solid networking foundation would be an excellent start. It'll be an excellent gateway to get into digital forensics.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next one. Isn't FRED, that is forensic recovery of evidence device, included within the set of devices used in forensic investigations?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that one more time? I'm sorry.
Sure. Isn't FRED, FRED, that is forensic recovery of evidence device, included within the set of devices used in forensic investigation?
Yes. And that's an excellent point. Whoever answered that, kudos to answering that question. Yes, that is part of the, that's actually one of the key components in digital forensics. So yes.
Okay. Next question is chain of custody. Is it done by a team or by one person at the crime scene?
Excellent question. It really depends on the investigation, right? So you may be assisting a team effort. So it may be 2 or 3 forensic investigators there at one time, or you may be by yourself, right? So it really depends on the investigation.
The next question, what are the normal formats used for digital evidence data exchanges between countries by forensic tools within uh, tools will offer differ?
One more time, I'm sorry.
What are the normal formats used for digital evidence data exchanges between countries as forensic tools will often differ?
It depends on jurisdiction, right? So there are basic well, first and foremost, it really depends on the type of data that we're dealing with, right? If this is cloud data, is this physical data on-prem? um, it really depends, right? And then the type of format that you would be using, depending on the investigation, right? So if this is a legal hold investigation, we may be using a different format per that legal entity, right? So it's a little ambiguous to say which format, but it really depends on investigation.
Okay. How to retrieve deleted data in the digital crime? How to trace down a legitimate user actions versus malicious activity?
So the question is how do we restore or recover data that's been deleted?
Yes, in the digital crime.
Yeah,
How to
so
trace
if
it down?
right, so some of the tools that we spoke to earlier, and I guess it really depends on the type of device, right? If this is a mobile device, we're using Celebrite UFET, we can certainly recover, or we're using FTK to recover the information, and then we follow the appropriate digital forensic process, right? So obviously securing, right, preserving, analyzing, and then we're documenting everything, right? So there's a plethora of tools to use to recover the data. And once we've done that, then we're going to be documenting everything that we've recovered, and then we're going into a formal reporting mode.
Okay. What are some common mistakes made during digital forensic investigations?
Excellent question. Some of the common mistakes is using unqualified software or hardware for the investigation. Typically, if you're using a pirated piece of software for a legal investigation, they will typically throw out the whole investigation because you're not using validated information. It's a huge blunder for individuals who don't want to get commercial-based software. Same thing for hardware. If the hardware is not up to date, it's, you know, you can use it, but if you're not getting the right approval from either the legal entity, they will throw out that investigation as well. So to answer that question, using wrong software, using wrong hardware.
Thank you. Your presentation was so interesting. We've received so many questions. So the next one is, do you prefer FTK over NCase?
Whew. Um, that's a great question. I actually would prefer in case, just because I have more exposure with it. but I actually like Axiom. That's kind of my tool of choice. I like Axiom. I love the GUI that it has. It's easy to the triage investigation faster. But between those two, I would say EnCase. Excellent question.
That's great. What is the impact of AI on digital forensic?
Mm, great question. Uh, Probably the biggest impact is getting folks trained in this new era we are in with AI. Um, it presents new unique challenges. So I think the biggest is getting folks trained on how to leverage AI, um, for your investigations. Because keep in mind, AI can also be used for criminals as well, right? Um, if this was a 0 day and they're using a tool that, it's just a general tool, it really depends on the adversary, right? So to answer that question, I would say training is probably the number one issue that we would typically see because we don't have enough training out there.
Okay. How do forensic tools handle encrypted or heavily obfu- obfuscated data? How do forensic tools handle heavily obfuscated data?
Great question. So the majority of the tools, depending on what you're using, they're able to re-engineer, right? There's an old tool called RSA Net Witness that I used many years ago, where it could actually re-engineer or put back together packets. Obviously, there's other tools, Rimnux on the Linux platform base, Axiom. There's a lot of tools that can re-put together packets of data. So it's pretty easy to do that. But again, this is going to be all on the shoulders of what type of software you're using, what type of hardware you're using. If you're using like the Tableau 35, where we need to create an image, it's pretty easy, right? You're using a certified tool. All right, so it's going to come down to the tool set.
Okay. The next one is, what is the best certification to start with in digital forensics?
The CHFI. I think the CHFI, Certified Hacking Forensic Investigator, will expose you to not only all of the tools, but it will give you basically this presentation, right? It's going to review and empower you with the necessary confidence and skills needed to understand the entire process of digital forensics. So certainly, I would say the CHFI would be the number one certification that I would go for.
Okay. Which operating system does forensic investigators prefer?
I'm sorry, you cut out towards the end.
Which operating system does the forensic investigators prefer?
Windows. I think Windows is always the easiest. Obviously, once you move over to diff like Linux or Apple, it's a little interesting. But out of those three, the easiest is going to be Windows by far. Yeah.
Okay. The next one. The key factors to consider in digital investigations. Is it universal or does it depend on the nature of the digital crime?
It's pretty universal. The steps that we covered in this presentation, they're pretty universal. Securing the crime scene, preserving your information, analyzing, correlating, understanding the legal ramifications, especially during that if you're in a different jurisdiction. Um, it's pretty universal. There has been a few cases where we're out of band. Like they may just be containing, but they're not concerned with preserving. But again, if this goes to court, they ask those questions, right? What process did you follow, right? Because what they're looking for is either throw that case out or show a flaw in the process, right? So that's the reason why I'm saying that it's typically understood as being universal.
Okay. Any advice for dealing with physically destructive data?
Destructive data, depending on the damage. You know, every case is different. Every case is very unique. Um, Typically, if it's just exterior damage, we still can extract data from that device, right? Laptop, desktops, mobile devices, we still can get a lot of the information from that device. But again, it's going to be all contingent on the damage.
Can you repeat the hardware tools used in forensics?
Sure. There was the right blocker. We had the tab, which is for making sure the integrity of the data hasn't been lost. Then we had the Tableau 3.0, and that's to create imaging. Those are probably the top two things that I would really focus on. Those two, right? Acquiring the data and preserving the data. So those are the top two that I would say that we would be focused on the most.
The investigation tools, they seem quite specialized. Can they be used for other means like ordinary data recovery?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, there's a lot of organizations where they are doing internal investigations internally without using a vendor. So absolutely. Naturally, we have to go through a legal um, sign off, right? Because there are probably going to be some NDA or acceptable use policies that will have to be reviewed prior to just using a tool internally. But yes, you certainly can use that for that purpose.
Legal challenges. How often are matters thrown out of court due to non-compliance to standards?
One more time, I'm sorry.
Legal challenges. How often are matters thrown out of court due to non-compliance to standards?
If I had to put a percentage on it, I would say anywhere from 40 to 50% of the time they're thrown out to everything that we spoke to, wrong tools, chain of custody not being followed, legal privilege hasn't been upheld, um, not finding enough information on the investigation. So I'd say about 50% of the time.
Okay. So, shouldn't the investigation always require a team to prevent conclusion agendas?
Yes, yes. I think this is kind of piggybacking reporting, right? So once the investigation has come to a stop to a certain degree, um, we have to report and we have to report to the appropriate personnel. So yes.
Okay. So we've got too many questions, but we've not got enough time. So we'll be taking the last two questions for the day. What legal conflicts have you ever faced?
Yeah, so in my background, especially in the pharmaceutical industries, I've been through a lot of the legal hold investigations, right? This is where individuals have exfiltrated data to their personal email or to a personal device, right? You will understand well in this industry that a lot of the DOP policies allow cell phones or USB devices, right? And sometimes there's a differ between a regular peripheral device and a USB device. So sometimes those policies they don't stick well, meaning that I have been in investigations where phones were utilized to exfiltrate data to their cell phone. The easiest is probably the email, sending emails to yourself, and having to work with legal to recover what was sent and the data that was lost. So
Thank you. And we'll go with the last question for the day. Sometimes you miss critical data after having conducted long time investigation, being too close to uncover and identify the attacker, but unfortunately you miss data. How do you investigate? How do investigators deal with it mentally?
Excellent question. Um, and that's actually a problem, right? Because if we've missed data, I don't want to say that the case is null, but it's hard to really show the credibility of that investigator, right? Um, and again, that would attribute to the 50% that gets thrown out. But if that is the case, and you have a good judge that you're working with, and they're willing to give you a second chance, I would say rehash the whole investigation from the very onset. Is best way that you can. Start all the way at the very beginning. What right blocker did we use? How did we secure the information? What tools were used? Who was involved? What documentation are we reporting on? We would have to go all the way back to ground zero and try to rebuild that case. And again, working with the legal team, working with a good judge, they may allow that. They usually will give you, 15 days if you're lucky. Sometimes that's not the case. So that's a tough question to answer because it really depends on how the legal team wants to move forward.
Thank you once again to our speaker, Benny, for answering those questions and for the great presentation and the knowledge that you shared with our audiences. It was a very engaging webinar. It was a pleasure to have you with us, and we're looking for more and more sessions with you. So before we
Awesome.
conclude with the webinar, Benny, would you like to give a short message to our audiences, please?
I would just say thank you all who have remained 11 minutes after our time to listen to me speak on digital forensics, navigating the digital crime scene. And I hope to interact with you at a future time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Benny, for the message to the audiences. With this, we end the session and you may disconnect now your lines. Thank you very much, Benny.
Thank you. Thank you all.